Moin Moin and welcome to Ralfs Foto-Bude. Some of my readers asked me about the autofocus system of the Nikon cameras, especially of the D7100 and the D600 and D610, because there are so many options you can choose from, and some of my viewers are a little bit confused. What autofocus should I use in which situation, and which setting is the best for which situation? So reason enough for me to give you a little overview about the different autofocus options of the cameras, of the Nikon cameras. I have here the new one, the D610. The D600 is exactly the same camera. It's a little bit the white balance of the D610 is a little bit advanced, but these are only minor changes between the 600 and 610. The most important change between both cameras is the dust problem. You may know that the D600 had a dust problem from the mirror and the shutter, so the sensor gets some dust on it, and there were some problems. And these problems are solved with the D610. So it's only a small upgrade, but an important upgrade to the D600. The D7100 has a smaller sensor, APS-C sensor, compared to the full frame sensor of 600 and 610, but the autofocus options are almost the same. So if you have one of these cameras, this video should help you to understand how the autofocus system and how the autofocus options of the camera work. So first, we have two different autofocus systems in the camera. The difference between both is the one system works when we look through the viewfinder and the mirror is down. I can remove the lens so you can see what I mean. If you remove the lens, oops, it's a little bit hard. So the mirror is down. You look through the viewfinder. This is the option number one. And the other one is when you use the live view. When I press the live view button on the back side of the camera, the mirror goes up and you see directly. You can see it, you can see directly through the sensor, and you have the live picture on the back side of the camera. What is the difference between those? If you use the live view option, the camera works with a contrast autofocus on the sensor. If you don't use the live view option, so you look through the viewfinder, you use the face detection option of the camera. Face detection has nothing to do with the face, because it's a face, P-H-A-S-E, face detection. And the camera had a special sensor. If you move up the mirror a little bit, you will see there's a second mirror behind the first mirror, which goes also up. You see this small mirror here. It's a little bit difficult to see, but there's a second mirror, a help mirror, and in the bottom of the camera, it's very difficult to see in this light situation. But in the bottom of the camera, you may see that a little bit. In the bottom of the camera down there is the autofocus sensor, and that's the face detection sensor. So what's different between both? The face detection sensor works let's talk about the contrast first. The contrast autofocus works in a way where the camera looks for edges. And when the contrast on these edges is highest, the picture has to be sharp. So the problem in this is the contrast doesn't know if the focus is before or behind the point which has to be sharp. So what does the lens? The lens focuses a little bit forward, a little bit backward, and the sensor checks if the contrast getting more or less. And so the focus works like 4, and then it stops at the point where the contrast is highest, and then the picture should be, or usually is, sharp. The face detection autofocus works in another way. So the face detection focus, if this is the point which should be sharp and the lens focus a little bit too far, the face detections recognize this and moves the focus direct to the perfect point, to the perfect sharpness. So this goes from the back focus or from the front focus. This works very fast, much faster than the contrast autofocus. So that's the first point. If you want to have fast autofocus, you should not use the live view. The live view is, the autofocus is slower, and the live view is for still images. If you do macro photography, if you do like stuff on your tabletop photography or stuff like that, then the live view and the focus of the live view is perfect, because you see your picture in the live view mode. You can compose it very good because you see it on the big screen on the back side. You can go to the live view. You see, I have to go to P because then you will have a little bit better picture. If you go to the live view, you will see the picture very good. You can compose the picture, you can set the autofocus point exactly on a point, and that's what you see here. You have the red square here, and you can move the red square just by pressing the four-way button to a point you want to have the focus. Just move the focus point on a place you want to have it. So if you have a still life on your table with like fruits or flowers or stuff like that, you move the autofocus point exactly to the point you want to have it, and then press the shutter release and the camera focus on exactly this point, and so you get a sharp picture. But it takes a little bit longer, it takes time, so only for still pictures or scenery in the landscape where there's nothing which moves fast or where you have to catch in with the autofocus. So that's the perfect thing. On the side you have this small lever with a button in the middle. Yes, there's a button in the middle. Some of you didn't know this, that there's a button in the middle, and if you press the button you can change between the different focus modes. You see, if I press the button here, press it with my finger here, you can see on top you get the different autofocus mode, AFS, and go a little bit closer, then you may see it better. This says wide. So if you turn the back dial, here's the back dial of the camera, here's the front dial of the camera. So if you turn the back dial of a camera, you change between the different autofocus mode, autofocus single, autofocus F for follow, and on the front dial you change the different sizes of the autofocus area. This is normal, this is follow up, this is face detection, and now it's face detection, that's face, not PH, but FA, face detection, wide and normal. So if you use wide, you will see there's a where it is. Oops, I think I'm in F. Yes, I have to go to single. Here we are, and if we go to single, you will see a little bit here. You will see you have the square which you can move just by pressing the four-way button to a point you want to have it, and then if you press the shutter release a little bit, the camera focus on the point, and if it hits the point, it gets green. You see, red, and now we have green. And here you can see how the camera pumps a little bit when she tries to get in focus. I can show you this if I turn the lens really out of focus, and if I press now the button, you will see how the lens pumps a little bit, goes back four, and now we have the focus. So that's the contrast autofocus, the little slower autofocus system when you are in the live view mode. So live view only for still images, for a landscape, for composing stuff and so on. That's the perfect mode for the live view. If you go out of the live view, just press the LV for live view button, then you're in the normal mode and you work through the viewfinder. So, and now we have different modes for the autofocus. Just press the info button. It's a little bit easier to show you if I press the info button, because you can also see the different modes here on top, but it's a little bit more difficult to change the I think you can see it. Yes, you have here, you have the display here on top also, but in my opinion it's a little bit difficult to see the different modes, but it's still possible. You don't have to go over the monitor on the back side, just go on top. If you want to use this one, you see here we have also the different, but for my video it's much easier to show you on the big screen. So if you press the info button, you will see here in this area there, you will see the different autofocus modes. So if I press the button on the side, again, here we are, autofocus. If I press the button on the side, you have the different settings of the autofocus. So let's see what we have. Front dial, we change between the different areas you can set, and back dial, you can change between the different autofocus modes. We have autofocus single, we have autofocus continuous, and we have autofocus automatic. The difference is when you use autofocus single, the autofocus works once, sets the autofocus, and that's it. Holds the autofocus on this point, you press the shutter release, and the point where you set the autofocus is the point which you get sharp in the picture. Autofocus continuous is you press the shutter release, the camera focus on the point you want to get sharp, and if the point is moving a little bit back and forward, the camera still follows this point. So continuous means the autofocus works continuously and try to catch in the focus on the point where you get the autofocus point on. So if you work for portrait and stuff like that, you should use autofocus continuous, because if you make a portrait, usually you hold the camera, focus on the eye of the person, and if you work with a great aperture like f2.8 or 1.8, you have a real small depth of field, and especially on a full frame camera, when the person moves a little bit, only for like an inch or more forward or backward, you're just out of focus. So that's very important that you also shoot, if you shoot portrait, with autofocus continuous, because the camera continuously focus on the point where you set the autofocus. If you work like in landscape or still pictures or stuff like that, it's absolutely okay to work with autofocus single, but in all other things I would suggest to work in autofocus continuous. The only thing, autofocus continuous needs a little bit more power, because always when you press the button, the autofocus works and the autofocus motor works, and this uses a little bit more power. But otherwise, there are only plus points if you use autofocus continuous. Autofocus auto. The camera decides by herself if she uses continuous or if she uses the single mode. Usually this works fine. Usually you can work in AFA, but for me, I'm a safe photographer. I want to work safe with my camera, and I don't want to let the camera decide as less as possible. So I'm the one who want to decide, or not the camera. And this is one point where I want to decide, because if I get pictures out of focus, unsharp, that's my fault, and I shouldn't give the camera the guilty issue, or the camera isn't guilty. It's my fault. So in my opinion, I wouldn't use the AFA option too often, but decide by myself to change or to set AFS for single or AFC for continuous. Next point, you have different settings in the single and in the continuous mode, and that's what I want to show you now. So if you press the side button, you can change between the different settings of the autofocus field. if you set the autofocus to auto, the camera will go to a point in the scene which has most contrast and which the camera thinks, but thinks is electronic. This is the most important point. So if you're shooting in a city, or if you're shooting landscape or stuff like that, and this is a normal scene, nothing special, you can use auto perfectly, because the camera looks for the most important point in the scene and sets the focus on this point. So this works in most cases, in standard situations, absolutely fine. Even if you have point and shoot, street photography or stuff like that, where where you need fast autofocus times and you're not able to set the autofocus point on a certain person or on a certain point in the pictures, but you need a fast pictures, then auto works absolutely perfect, and auto should be fine for this situation. Next point is the single autofocus point. That's the smallest autofocus point. You can move this autofocus point on a place you want to have it. You see, if I press the four-way button, you see I can move the autofocus point anywhere I want. So if you want to shoot portrait, you should move the autofocus point on a point which is normally here on the other side. It depends if you hold the camera like this or if you hold the camera like this. Because if you hold the camera like this, you will see that one of these points is for the right or for the left eye perfect. And if you look through the camera, you will see the small autofocus point in the display. Maybe I can show you. Maybe it will work here. We'll have a look. Usually, yes, you will see there is the autofocus field. And if I press the button, oops, no, it don't get sharp, but it's a little bit difficult now, but let's see. No. Yes, here we are. Here we have the autofocus field. And if you work in this direction, you will recognize that the point is normally exactly on one of the two eyes. And that's, if you shoot portrait, the most important thing, that one of the two eyes is perfectly sharp. So you can move this point on exactly the area you want to have the sharpness. And this you can do just by putting the four-way button, so you can move the point anywhere you want to have it. Okay, next one is the 9-field autofocus. You will see I can move the 9-field also in every direction. So that's not for a very small point, but it's for 9 fields. It's a little bit more. So if you have a scene where you don't have only the eye, a small area, but a little bit more, the 9-field is perfect. Next one then is, after the 9-field, we have a little bit more fields. Okay, let's move the point to the middle so you will see this one. If I press now the button again, you see we have more fields now, and I can move these fields also on any area I want to. And then the next point is the full area, where you have the points on the full area, but you can move the center button also to a special point. It's a little bit confusing because you have this one here where you set the autofocus point on a certain point, and you have this one where you can move the autofocus point also on a special point. Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, and actually I don't know the real difference. I tried both of this. I think actually if you use this setting here, it's like you have a point, but the camera also recognizes the area around the point. But the sharp point is on the small autofocus area you use. So I think you can use both, and I usually use the one where you only have one autofocus field. So that's this one here. I use this one because I'm quite sure that here is only the point where I set the autofocus on the special point in the scene, and that's the point you get the sharpness. Next point after these is the 3D. What means 3D? 3D means if you use 3D, the camera usually set the face detection and recognize if the focus is before or behind. So the camera moves the focus to the point, and that's it. If you have in the scene a part of the scene which moves towards you or from you, away from you, the camera recognizes in the 3D mode. So the camera recognizes, if you are in continuous shooting, that this part of the motive or of the scene moves away from you or comes towards you. So the focus is a little bit tries to go a little bit further for the next picture, so the time to focus is shorter than in the usual autofocus continuous mode. So the camera tries to predict in which direction this part of the scene moves and try to autofocus a little bit faster to this point. When should you use this? If you shoot, your dog is running towards you or away from you, or if you're in a motorsport, cars, motorcycles or stuff like this, which comes with a certain speed towards you, you should use 3D, because then the camera should work a little bit better than in the normal continuous autofocus mode. Question: why don't you use this one always? Yeah, the reason why you don't use this one always is because if you have your kids playing around, where you should use autofocus continuous, because your kids running away, coming through you, and they're just running around in your picture. So there's a good idea to use autofocus continuous. In the 3D mode, the camera recognizes a certain direction, so it's going away and the camera recognizes, and it's coming towards you and the camera recognizes. If there's a stop in between, or if the subject changes the direction, like playing a kid, it could happen that the camera won't catch the autofocus faster than in the normal continuous mode. So you should use the 3D only if it's with a continuous speed coming towards you or going away from you. Not if it's part of the scene which goes forward, backward, playing around, running around. Then you should use the normal autofocus continuous mode and not the 3D matrix mode or the 3D mode. Yeah, so these are the difference between the different settings of the autofocus mode. And again, next point is autofocus-auto, what we have before. And here also in the 3D mode, you can set the point where the camera should look for the autofocus or should look for the subject which is moving. You can set it directly on a certain point. So if the car comes on the side or something like that, you can set the autofocus on the side or in the middle or anywhere you want to. So you can use the autofocus 3D mode, not in single. I think. No, not in single. The reason is easy, because in single you only shoot a single picture on a certain point, and only in continuous shooting you have a subject which is coming through you or running away from you or moving away from you. So the 3D matrix mode is only for continuous shooting. One point, so these are the different autofocus modes you can use. One important thing, if you use the face detection, which I showed you now, there's only a place or an area in the middle which you can use for autofocusing. So let's again, if you look through the viewfinder, I change now to the full area mode. Just give me a second. Change here single and all fields. And if you use this, I hope you can see this. I'm not quite sure if it works, but you see in the middle, that's only the area where the autofocus, the face detection autofocus works. And you see now the focus, it depends on what the camera sees or what the camera thinks is most important. And you see it's different. There are different areas where the camera sets the autofocus. You see it, sometimes it's on the left side, sometimes it's down there. So that's only the middle, like this area in the middle of the picture where the autofocus face detection works. So if you want to go on the full area, the autofocus, you have to go on the live view, because in the live view you can set the autofocus point also absolutely to the edge or in the corner. And that's the reason why you should work in still if you have still life or macro or something like that, then you should use, as I said before, the live view mode, because there you can set the autofocus point extremely to the right or to the left or something somewhere else. If you use the face detection, you have only the center field where you can set it, and there's no way to put the focus field outside of this area. One important thing you should know, if you are in the, you should look in the menu. Here's the custom setting menu. In the normal menu we don't have anything about the autofocus system, so there are no points which are important for the autofocus system. But in the individual custom menu we have the point autofocus, and here are some important settings you should use. One of the most important thing is autofocus continuous priority selection and autofocus single priority selection, because here you can set what is more important, release or focus. If you're like in sport photography or in action photography, you should put it on release, because it's better to get a picture even if it's a little bit unsharp than to lose a picture. So if you use release, the camera will release even if the picture or the autofocus doesn't work perfect and find the perfect point. If you go on focus, it can happen that the camera don't find the focus point, and so the camera won't release and the scene is gone. So you lost your photo. So that's very important to know, to set release or focus. So the point is, if you have action photography and your goal is to get the picture, even if it's a little bit unsharp, please put it on release. So the camera, as you see here, it's on release. I can release all the time. It doesn't matter where I hold the camera, it will release all the time, even if the focus is not perfect. And now I can show you to set it on, give me a second, I have to look what I have, autofocus single, and now I change here the autofocus priority selection to focus, and I will see what happens. Here I press the button, nothing happens. Now it takes, you see, here, white wall, nothing happens. The camera won't find the autofocus perfectly. and it takes maybe half a second or a second if the camera releases. And this could be the moment where you don't, where you lose your picture. So that's very important to decide what you want. Do you want the focus or do you want the release priority? Next point is the autofocus point elimination. That's to see if you want the autofocus in the viewfinder. And one very important point is the number of autofocus point. You can change between 39 points and 11 points. If you're on 11 points, you will see what this means. If you press the focus button, you will see that there are only 11 points here where you can choose from. You see here we have only 11 points where you can choose from. You don't have the 39 points. So that's a very important thing, to change between the 39 or the 11 autofocus fields. I usually use the 39 points because I want to get the focus point very precise on a certain point, especially when I shoot portrait things or stuff like that, or when I shoot my dog. It's very important for me to set the focus point exactly where I want to have it. Yeah, so these are the most important settings of the autofocus setting. One point here, you can choose between autofocus and manual focus, but that's a point you should know. And if you're in the if you're in manual focus, and if you're in the live view mode, just press the magnify button, and you can see, you can magnify the screen, and so you can focus very precise. Where is something to see? I don't know here. I don't know, but you can work very precise. So that's good to know. Press the magnification button, and again with a minus you will scroll in. So let's see if I go here to this point. It's nothing from Nikon, but again you will see this one. So if I here, you see I can work very perfect on the point and set the focus on the point. Yeah, so that's the one point you should know, plus and minus magnification in the live view mode, and you will see this one very perfect, and you can set up your focus very good. And for sure you can move the area which is magnified. You will see here down there the small area where you move the magnification point. So that's the work in manual focusing. One thing, the focus is not combined with the metering. The metering is a special point, and there we have 3 options of metering. You have the button here on top for the metering, and if you press the metering button, you have 3 different options. Let's see what we have. If you press, you have the whole field, you have it's a back dial, sorry. You have the spot metering, or you have the center weighted metering. So these are the different metering settings, but it has nothing to do with the autofocus system. So these are 2 different systems which are not combined. Yeah, so these are the most important autofocus settings, and yes, I hope you have an idea which to use in which situation. I usually use the autofocus continuous option. I usually use the one field autofocus to set the autofocus on a certain point. And when I use the continuous shooting, high or low, I usually use, and depends on the scene, continuous shooting with 9 fields, or the matrix mode, because usually continuous shooting I use when something is coming up towards to me or running away, my dog usually. So that's when I use the 3D matrix mode. single mode when I make still photography, like still life or architecture. Always when I use a tripod, I use autofocus single, and usually then with a little bigger autofocus field, so I can put the autofocus on a certain point of a city scene or in a landscape or stuff like that. Then I use the autofocus single. Yeah, I hope it helped you a little bit to understand how the autofocus of this camera works, and hope it helps you a little bit to find out which autofocus fits your needs best in a special scene or in a special situation. Very important, work around with the different options. Try different options, work with the different options, because one of the most important thing is get used to all the options of your camera. As better you know your camera, as better you know the different options, you are in a special scene, you can work very fast and very good, and the chance to get a real good, a real perfect photo is much higher as if you don't know your camera and don't know which options to use in which situation. And this is one of the most important things, to know your camera, try around, work around, use different settings in one situation to find out which one is perfect. It depends on the lenses, it depends on the light, and there are so many things to know about your camera and your lenses that it's really the most important thing. Try, work. Look the results on your computer, look it very precise and look for the details, and then you will find out which fits perfect in which situation, and you don't have to think about it. When you see a situation, you know exactly what to do with the camera, and you know it very fast, and you know how to set the different autofocus modes, and that's one of the most important things, not only for the autofocus but especially for the autofocus, because a picture which is a little bit overexposed or underexposed, or where the white balance is not perfect or stuff like that. Okay, you have post-production, you have Photoshop, you have everything you need. You can make minor changes of these problems, and that's very easy. But a picture which is unsharp, you can't save it. It's absolutely impossible to save an unsharp picture, and so the most important thing really is the autofocus, and to know which autofocus setting you should use in a certain situation. And one thing for sure, the most difficult situation for autofocus, even if you have the 3D metrics, the most difficult situations are fast-moving objects, and you should like 30 or 40% of the pictures are unsharp. That's absolutely normal. I often get readers or viewers of my videos who ask me, I try to take pictures of my fast-running dogs, and they are not sharp. And I ask, how many pictures did you shoot? Yeah, 10 pictures. And how many are not sharp? 9 to 8. And I say, okay, go to continuous shooting, go to matrix mode, and you will get a better chance to get sharp pictures. But also you will get pictures which are not sharp, because this is the most difficult situation for a camera to get sharp pictures. Fast moving objects which are coming towards you or running away from you. So that's it. Hope it helped you a little bit out of the autofocus problems, or give you a little bit more information how the autofocus of a camera works. Yeah, look some more of my videos on my YouTube channel. In the next days I will have some more videos. If you like this one and if it helps you, give me a feedback, because then I will make more of these tutorials to different themes. I don't know, it's the first time when I make a tutorial of a special theme of the camera. So give me a feedback, then I know if it's okay or if it's too long. Yeah, all of my videos are too long, I know, but if it's okay to get a special information, or it's better for you to give you only an overview of a camera. So thanks for watching me take some nice pictures. Until now I say bye bye and moin moin.